Hi everyone, I'm Shahnaz from crochetdreams.com and today I'm here to share how to make these gorgeous ribbed beanies. They're not your regular single crochet back loop only stitch. If you look up close, it has a nice braided look in the front. If you look inside, it looks like a regular single crochet back loop only ribbing. But on the outside, you can see the beautiful braided stitch. This pattern comes in 6 sizes, baby to man, and you can make it for every member of your family. Today I'll be demonstrating the size Toddler, but if you would like to make it in any other size, please check out the written pattern in my blog. I have left the link in the description box below. To make these hats, I used Lion Brand Color Made Easy yarn, which is a size 5 bulky weight yarn, and a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook. So gather your supplies and let's get started. To make the toddler size beanie, make a slip knot and chain 30. I have now completed 30 chains for the toddler size. Now I'm going to begin my row 1. And row 1 is a row of half double crochet slip stitches. You will work your first half double crochet slip stitch into the second chain from your hook. This is the first chain and this is the second. To work a half double crochet slip stitch, wrap the yarn around your hook, insert your hook into the second chain from your hook, pull up a loop and pull it through the chain as well as the 2 loops on your hook. That completes a half double crochet slip stitch. Let's do that a few more times. So you will be working a half double crochet slip stitch into each chain across. So wrap the yarn around your hook, insert your hook into the next chain, pull up a loop and pull through the stitch as well as the 2 loops on your hook. You're working like a regular slip stitch but with 2 loops on your hook. So wrap the yarn around your hook, insert into the next chain, pull up a loop through the chain as well as the 2 loops on your hook to complete a half double crochet slip stitch. Now continue working half double crochet slip stitches all across the chain to the end. Keep your gauge loose so you can easily work your half double crochet slip stitch. Keep your hands relaxed and continue working a half double crochet slip stitch into each chain across. I'm now at the end of row 1 and I have a couple of chains to work into. So I will work my last 2 half double crochet slip stitches into them. Wrap the yarn around your hook, insert your hook into the next chain, pull up a loop through the chain as well as the 2 loops on your hook. One last time, insert your hook into the chain, pull up a loop and pull through the chain and 2 loops on your hook to complete your half double crochet slip stitch row. So that is the end of row 1 and now let's begin row 2. Chain 1, 1 slip stitch in the first 4 stitches. This time we are talking about regular slip stitches and not half double crochet slip stitch. So work 4 slip stitches into the back loops only. If you look at a stitch, it has 2 loops, the front loop and the back loop. In regular stitches, you will go under both the loops like that, but when you're working only into the back loop, you will only insert your hook under the back loop like that. So every stitch from now on for every row will be worked only into the back loop, except for one last single crochet stitch of the second row. So I have chained 1 and I will work my first stitch into the very first stitch right at the base of that chain, and I'll do that going only through the back loop. So I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch going only through the back loop. So that is my first slip stitch through the back loop only. Slip stitch in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches. Again, we are talking about regular slip stitches in this row and not half double crochet slip stitch. So I have now completed a total of 4 slip stitches, and in the remaining stitch we will work a single crochet stitch going through just the back loops. But remember, in the very last stitch you will go through both the loops to keep your brim straight. So go through the back loops and work a single crochet in the next stitch, and each stitch across until you have just 1 stitch left. Work a single crochet in each stitch. I'm almost at the end of row 2 and I just have 4 stitches to work into. So I'm going to continue working a single crochet in the back loop of each stitch until I have just 1 last stitch left. So I just have this stitch left, and here this is the back loop and this is the front loop of the stitch. You really have to look behind the work to see the back loop, and this time I will go into the front and the back loop, not just the back. So go ahead and work a single crochet into both the loops like that. So that completes your row 2. Now to begin row 3, chain 1. Row 3 will be a half double crochet slip stitch in the back loops only. So work a half double crochet slip stitch in the very first stitch here, going through the back loop only. Wrap your yarn around your hook, insert your hook into the back loop only of the first stitch, pull up a loop through the chain as well as the 2 loops on your hook. Again, wrap the yarn around your hook, insert your hook into the back loop only of the next stitch, and pull up a loop through the stitch as well as the 2 loops on your hook. Keep your gauge loose, your hands relaxed, and continue working half double crochet slip stitches all across, working only through the back loop. I'm almost at the end of row 3 and I have a few more half double crochet slip stitches to work into the back loop only. So let's do that together. And you have 1 more stitch to work into. Do not miss the last stitch. Go into the back loop and complete a half double crochet slip stitch. Now let's begin row 4, chain 1 and turn. Row 4 is a repeat of row 2. That is, the first 4 stitches will be slip stitches in the back loop only, and the rest of the stitches will be single crochet stitches in the back loop only. The very last single crochet stitch, you will be working through both the loops of the braid stitch pattern this time, like that on top, and not through the 2 loops of your stitch. You will go through the braid pattern you see on top. You will go through 2 loops of that to complete your very last single crochet. So let's work this row together. I've already chained 1 in the beginning, and I'll work a slip stitch into the same stitch or the first stitch at the base of the chain. I'll work a slip stitch into that stitch. That is my first slip stitch, and 3 more slip stitches. 2, 3, and 4. Remember, we're always working only into the back loops. Now let's begin single crochet stitches in the back loop only. Work a single crochet stitch all the way to the last stitch. going only through the back loops. I'm now at the end of row 4 and I just have a few more stitches to go. So I'll work a single crochet in the back loop only of each stitch until I have just one stitch left. So I just have one stitch left, and now instead of going through the 2 loops of the stitch like that, I will go through the braid pattern on the surface, the 2 loops of the braid pattern. So I'll insert my hook under those 2 loops and complete a single crochet. So that completes row 4. Now go ahead and repeat rows 3 and 4 until your work measures 15.5 inches along the base of your hat where there is no tapering, or you have completed 45 rows in total. To count your rows, here is where your beginning tail is. The first braid stitch pattern right near the edge is your first row. And the valley between 2 braids is a single crochet row. So that is your second row. And then the next braid will be your third row. So every braid is a half double crochet slip stitch row, and every valley between the 2 braids is a single crochet row. So you go 1, 2, 3. That's how you count your rows in this stitch pattern. So go ahead, work 45 rows and come back and meet me, and I'll show you how to seam the hat. So now we're ready to seam the sides of the beanie. This is the right side where you have the braid pattern. So fold it with the wrong side out. You won't have any braids here. And we will slip stitch our way down, all the way down like that. And this time we will be using regular single crochet stitches. So before you start, take the hook out from the loop. Insert your hook through the other edge where you have the foundation chain and the beginning tail. Insert your hook through there and then grab that loop and pull it through this side. We are now ready to slip stitch down this side and join the 2 sides together. We will be using regular slip stitches and not half double crochet slip stitch this time. If you look at the right side, this is where the braid is. So when you insert your hook under the foundation chain, the free loops of the foundation chain, make sure your hook goes close to the braid, like that. Has to come really close to the braid for you to have a seamless join. So what you will do is, instead of going through just one loop, make sure you go under all the loops there, like 2 loops there, or under where the loops are crossing each other. Don't just go under one loop like that at the very edge. You should go a little deeper and go under 2 loops and then start your slip stitch. On the other side, you will be working only into the back loops. This is the front loop and this is the back loop. So don't go under both of the loops, but just one loop on the other side, or on the last row, you will be only going under one loop. So let's begin slip stitching. Now go under both the loops on this side and one loop or just the back loop on the other side. Go under both the loops on this foundation chain side and just the back loop on the other side. Keep working like that until you hit the end of the beanie. Now if you look on the right side, this is how it will look. The 2 braids are the only ones showing. So you will have a very seamless join. work all the way to the end. I'm almost at the end of my beanie, and I'm continuing to slip stitch the foundation chain side and the other side. And this side will be a little shorter, so make sure you work all the way to the end even if you don't have a stitch there. That way your beanie will look finished. So now I've finished all the stitches, so I will just insert my hook to the edge like that and go through the very edge on the back side as well. So that will kind of level it out. And then you're ready to fasten off this yarn. You can now turn it inside out. And this is where your seam is, where the two braids are a little close together. That is where the seam is, but it's very invisible, and once it stretches you won't even know where it is. This is where the seam is. You can know the position of your seam from the position of your tail. So this is where it is, and this is the crown, which is narrower compared to the base or the brim of your hat. So now let's work on the crown. We will now go ahead and work a couple of single crochet decreases on top of the crown to cinch the hat. If we just directly cinch this, it will add a lot of bulk to your hat. So to avoid that, we're adding a couple of single crochet rows. And to start your single crochet row, slip stitch where you have your tail, or where your seam is actually, and slip stitch there. And you can work over this tail to hide it. You can work over one or two of the tails if you want. I will just work over two now. So that's my first slip stitch. And now I will work single crochet decreases all around. To work single crochet decreases, I will be working one single crochet decrease across one valley and the next braid. Then again another single crochet decrease across the next valley and the next braid. When I'm inserting my hook into the valley, I'll just go along the edge under just one loop. But when I'm working into the braid, I won't go into the very edge like that, because that tends to leave a hole. I will dig a little deeper into the body of the very first braid like that. So I'll go into that and not right away at the edge like that. So let's go ahead and work our first single crochet two together, or single crochet decrease. I'm working them over the yarn tails so I can weave them in as we go. So I've just completed my slip stitch, and let's begin single crochet two together. So insert your hook into the same place where you have your slip stitch, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next braid a little deeper like I said, and pull up a loop, and now yarn over and pull through all the loops on your hook. So that completes your first single crochet decrease. Again, let's work the next one across the next valley and the next braid. Insert your hook into the edge of the next valley, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next braid a little deep, pull up a loop, and then complete a single crochet. Keep working all the way around your beanie with decreases like that until you hit back where you started. Go through the very edge of the valley and deep into the braid. So go ahead and work single crochet decreases all around. I'm almost at the end of my single crochet decrease row, so I'll work into the next valley and the next braid. I'll work a single crochet 2 together across those, and now my very last single crochet 2 together in the next valley and the next braid. I'll then slip stitch to the very first single crochet 2 together right there. Insert my hook under both the loops and complete a slip stitch. So that completes this round. And now let's begin the next round of decreases. In the next round, we will be doing a single crochet and then a single crochet decrease, a single crochet, then a single crochet decrease all around. So start with a chain 1, single crochet in the next, single crochet 2 together across the next 2, single crochet in the next, single crochet 2 together across the next. Continue like that all around. I have now reached back where I started, so I'll work a slip stitch into the first stitch, and fasten off with a long tail to cinch the stop shut. So maybe a yard or a yard and a half should be enough. Now thread this tail through a yarn needle. Turn your hat inside out. And go in and out through the very edge of this hole here. It's not a very big one, it's around 2 inches. Go in and out through the stitches there. I'm going in through the first stitch and out through the next, all the way around. Now pull, shut the hole, make a couple of knots, and you can weave in the rest of the tail along the inside of the hat. You can weave in the tail. Go back and forth a couple of times. Trim your yarn. Weave in any of the other tails left here as well. We already wove that in, so we can just trim that off now. So that is gone. And we have one more tail here, but we will weave that in onto the right side because it's going to be under the fold of your brim. So now turn it right side out. To attach your pom-poms, generally the pom-poms come with an elastic like that, a loop like that. You can cut it open. This is how I do it. You can cut it open and thread a yarn needle through one side, and I like to bring one of the tails through one side of the top of the hat and the other tail 1 inch away on the other side like that. And then I will tie it inside. So let's go ahead and do that. So one end is inside. Now I will thread the other side and pull it inside through a point that's almost 1 inch away from the first one. I'll pull that inside as well. Now go to the inside and you have both the tails and you can tie them together. I like to tie a knot like this if I want to take them off when I'm washing. Something like a shoelace, so it's easy to take off. And then you can fold your brim up like that and your hat is ready. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and press that bell icon to receive notifications when I post new patterns. Thank you so much for watching.